Alright guys, so we are a little more than halfway through the year in movies, 2014, and I gotta say, this is one of the best years for film in recent memory. I mean, I've only seen a few bad movies this year, but out of all the bad movies, I've only seen a few of them, so this year has been incredible for movies, it really has. Then I saw this movie today. Anyway, hey there guys, what's up? It's Autobot Mike 18 here with another movie review. Guys, I'm gonna be completely honest with you here. I honestly had no original intentions to go to the movie theaters this weekend, and I had no intentions to see two movies this weekend because actually three big movies came out in the theaters this weekend. I saw two of them. One of them is a child's movie, an animated movie that I don't want to see. But anyway, I saw two big movies that came out in the theaters this weekend, and I honestly didn't want to see both of them. One of them looked really bad, and one of them looked eh. So I really had no intention to go to the movies today, but I went for you guys. That's right, you guys, my fans, my subscribers, because I said to myself, you know what, I'm not doing anything today. I'm going to go to the movies and watch one of these movies and review it. And if it's bad, I'll steer you away from it because that's what my channel is all about, guys. But yeah, I had no original intentions to go see these movies whatsoever today. In the end, I ended up seeing both of them. So the movie I'm going to be reviewing right now in this video is Sex Tape. Sex Tape is the film from the guy who directed Bad Teacher. I don't care about his name, so I didn't memorize it, so I'm just going to look at this poster. Give me a second. Jake Kasdan, there you go, and it stars Jason Segel and Cameron Diaz. Now, the other movie that I saw right after Sex Tape was The Purge Anarchy. Now, I had no idea which one I wanted to see first. I was going to see one this weekend and one like on Bargain Tuesday. But then I decided to see Sex Tape first, and then I saw Purge Anarchy. But before that, I asked you guys on Facebook and Instagram, which one should I go see? I honestly don't care about either of the two movies. And all of you wanted Purge, but I wanted to see Sex Tape first because I knew it was going to be worse, so I wanted to review it first. And then, yeah, and then I ended up deciding to watch Purge. About midway through this movie, I said, this movie isn't doing it for me. I gotta go see something better. So that's why I went to go see Purge Anarchy as well. So my review for that will be up soon. My review for Sex Tape is probably going to go up first. Anyway, guys, getting into the actual review for the movie, the first thing I'm going to start talking about is the premise of the movie. Now, the guy who directed Bad Teacher reunited with its stars Cameron Diaz and Jason Segel to make Sex Tape. Now, Sex Tape is about a couple, Jay and Annie, played by Jason Segel and Cameron Diaz. They meet at college, and one thing that, they start a relationship, and one thing they absolutely love to do with one another is have sex. They are really good at it, and that is something they do, like, constantly, like, every single night, basically. And they've had this very long relationship since college, and the years go by, the two of them eventually get married, have two children, and they kind of lost that spark somewhere along the way down the road. They very rarely have sex anymore, and it's just like they need something to sort of spice up their love life, spice up their relationship, basically. So the two of them one night decide to film themselves having sex. They make a 3+ hour sex tape, filming the whole entire thing off of Jason Segel's new iPad. When they wake up the next morning, Jason Segel forgets to delete the sex tape, and it gets sent through the cloud to every single one of their friends and family who have iPads. So the mission of Jay and Annie in this movie is to get the sex tape deleted off of every single one of those iPads before their friends and family see that most embarrassing video. And that is the premise behind Sex Tape. Now, guys, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. When I first watched the trailer for the movie, I said to myself, that's actually a good premise when you think about it. I mean, when was the last time we saw a romantic comedy with a subject like this? We've never seen a movie about a couple losing that zest in their relationship. They really want that spark to put back. They need something to liven up their relationship. So they decide to film a sex tape, and it ends up going to their friends and family. I mean, that is not only a smart premise, but it is it's something that could happen in reality when you think about it. You could make a sex tape and it could be mistakenly seen by other people and it could backfire right in your face. So this movie has a very smart premise. And I saw the trailers. There were a few funny parts in the trailers. I said, okay, maybe it'll be somewhat enjoyable. Then the reviews started coming in. And they started bashing this movie relentlessly, and I told myself, as soon as I saw the reviews, I'm like, I know this movie's going to be bad now. Because the trailers had a few funny parts, and that was it. It still looks like a stale movie, kind of like, exactly like Bad Teacher. And what do you know? This movie sucks. Okay, guys, I'm going to be completely upfront with you. Sex Tape is, not saying it's the worst movie of the year. I have to go back and look at every movie I've seen. But it is without a doubt one of the worst movies of the year in such a strong year for movies that we've had. And one of my biggest problems with this movie is that, like I said earlier, with that awesome sounding premise that could be, it could work, this movie could work as a comedy, it could work as a drama, it could work as a romance movie, it could even be a little sexy and kicky if you know what I'm talking about. You got Cameron Diaz in this movie, that should be awesome, right? Why doesn't it feel awesome? Because this movie just failed. This movie had so much potential to be good. Now, I know not a lot of people were looking forward to see this movie, and because when I went to see this movie, there was like a couple people in the theater, so this movie isn't even going to make a lot this weekend as compared to The Purge. But, I mean, they could have had a really solid mid-July comedy on their hands had they actually written a better script, had they actually figured out what genre they wanted this movie to be instead of just labeling it as a romantic comedy. This movie could have actually been good. Had they actually worked time on the jokes, had they actually thrown in smarter pop culture references and all these other better jokes, and had it been better directed, this movie would have been so much better, but it's not. Now, granted, I am going to call this movie the Grown-Ups 2 of this summer movie season. The Grown-Ups 2 of this summer. Now, this movie is nowhere near bad as that movie. Not even close. But this movie is still absolutely the weakest comedy I've seen in 2013. And that's sad, because we had Neighbors, we had 22 Jump Street. This movie could have been funnier. Could have been as funny, if not funnier, than both of those movies had they actually done something better and given this movie, I don't know, more time. Had they put more time in it, had they actually the writing actually been smart and funny, I would have liked this movie. Now, getting into the cast, I'm going to discuss very briefly. I mean, it's Jason Segel and Cameron Diaz. Big deal, okay? Two actors I don't even really care for all that much. Jason Segel, I've seen him in a couple movies, and he's alright. He's not my favorite comedic actor. I mean, he is arguably a good presence, though, especially in this movie. This movie is definitely boring. It's bland. It has hardly no laughs. And Jason Segel is still arguably one of the best parts about this movie. It's just his actual presence and the fact that he's trying to turn this situation, you know, his character screws up this time around with, you know, not deleting the sex tape and whatever. Just to see him fight to, you know, get it deleted and everything. Just that overall situation just makes it funny. And I think he himself was doing his all to work his best with this piss poor script. And he was trying. You could tell he was trying, so I got to give it to him for that. He definitely tried to make something of this movie, even though it's not good. Now, Cameron Diaz, I don't remember any performance from her that has really ever stood out of all the movies I have seen from her. I've never been a fan from her. Honestly, you know what my favorite Cameron Diaz movie is? It's a movie where she's not even on screen. She's giving her voice, and it's Shrek. I mean, that's sad, alright? I am not a fan of Cameron Diaz, hardly at all. And she was fine in Bad Teacher. I think her role in Bad Teacher was fine. You know, I think she did a very good job in that role. But in this movie, she's fine as well. I mean, her and Jason Segel had much better chemistry in Bad Teacher than in this movie, in my opinion. I mean, they had good chemistry in a few scenes, but it was just whatever. Nothing spectacular. Now, and I do feel bad for her this year, even though she picked these movies. She starred in The Other Woman, which was crapped on. She starred in this, which was crapped on. And she's going to be in Annie, coming out later this December. And boy, oh boy, does that movie look terrible. Poor Jamie Foxx. He has nothing to look back on this year. I feel so bad for the guy. Amazing Spider-Man 2, Annie. Oh boy. Anyway, moving on. Not talking about Jamie Foxx here. Getting back to Sex Tape. Now, Rob Lowe does make an appearance in this movie. And I'm not going to say it's a cameo appearance because he's shown in the trailer. So, you know he's in this movie. It's not a surprise seeing him in this movie. And had the trailer not freaking spoiled the fact he was going to be in the movie, I would have loved his scene a whole lot better. In fact, that whole scene where Cameron Diaz is distracting him. He plays her boss, by the way. And they're doing cocaine, and Jason Segel's running around the house trying to find the iPad. That scene was the worst scene in the movie because it was so dumb and bland. But Rob Lowe's character himself was funny because of that performance he gave. Rob Lowe was great in that role, but I feel so bad for the guy. He had to work with this crap. I mean, it really is pathetic. And there is one other cameo appearance in the movie. I would say there's only one cameo appearance in this movie. I don't know why people are saying several. There's one big cameo at the end of the movie, and it was fine. Nothing too extraordinary. It's not like it's the greatest cameo of the year. It was just fine. Now, guys, I liked Bad Teacher minimally. I didn't see it in the theaters. I thought it was decent, but I definitely knew it had problems with it, and I mean, it wasn't that funny. That was my main problem with Bad Teacher. And you know what? It's kind of my same problem with Sex Tape. Honestly, guys, I really have two things that I liked about this movie. It's Jason Segel's presence, Rob Lowe's presence, and I guess the rest of the cast in general was fine. The supporting cast, the cast is what really saved this movie for me. I mean, had the cast been not dedicated at all to this project, I would have hated this movie even more. But since I guess you have likable actors in these roles, that's why I love this movie. But that's all I can really give this movie. A part of the ending I did like, and that's really all I can praise this movie. I really didn't care for it at all, and I'm going to get into several reasons why I didn't like it right now. But in the end, guys, Sex Tape is not as good as Bad Teacher, even though Bad Teacher's not that great. It is not like it's not the worst movie of the year so far, I don't think. But it is not one of the best at all. I mean, I walked in this movie, honestly, I'm going to be honest, thinking it was going to be so much worse than it actually was. It was a little bit better, but that's not saying much because this movie is not that great. I'm going to give Sex Tape a 6 out of 10. I do not recommend you see this movie, but like I said, I basically knew it wasn't going to be that great going into it, especially when the reviews started coming. I knew it wasn't going to be anything special. It got a few chuckles out of me, but that's really it. Now, getting into my problems, guys, I really only had 2 problems with this movie. That's sad, and I gave it that low of a score. Number 1, the direction kind of felt off in a few scenes, namely one in particular. There's a shot of these 2 characters trying to sell charity at this guy's house. And the camera, all the camera has to do is just focus on these 2 and not move at all. You have to just put it on a tripod and just film the freaking actors saying their lines. Okay? But why is the camera bobbing up and down in that scene? Why is it moving? Why? I guess they just didn't care. Also, Jason Segel was fine in this movie, but there was one scene, I don't know what it was, it felt like they literally, his acting was so off, it was just one scene, I don't know what happened. It felt like they literally woke him up out of his trailer, and he was like in the middle of his sleep, and they're like, dude, come on, we gotta go film this scene, we forgot to do, we have to do it right now. He was so like pissed, he just wasn't with it, and he just overacted the hell out of this one scene, I don't know. And my biggest problem with this movie, guys, is the writing, and the fact that it has the potential to be a comedy, and it is labeled as a romantic comedy, but it doesn't work. There are hardly any laughs in this movie. The dialogue is flat, it's bland, it's boring, it's not exciting. The movie is called Sex Tape. Do you think it could be just the taddest bit sexy, kinky? No, it's not. I mean, Cameron Diaz herself is gorgeous. I'm not gonna lie, she is. But she doesn't do anything for me for this movie. She doesn't. The writing is what really took me off. The movie is so lazy. They just didn't put that much thought into it. The third act of this movie, this is one of the... I know comedies aren't always grounded in reality, but out of all the ways you can end your movie with a third act, are you really going to go out like this with an outrageous third act as you did? I mean, come on. How much more are you trying to get us to hate this movie? The third act was absolutely terrible in this movie. I mean, I could have written something better. It's just so ridiculously outrageous. It's unbelievable. The characters in this movie, this would never happen. I mean, the movie, the premise is grounded in reality, but the third act is just so out of whack. It's unbelievable. And ultimately, guys, you get 2 laughs out of me for a movie that's labeled as a comedy. It's marketed as a comedy. It doesn't even feel like a comedy all the time. It doesn't even feel like a drama all the time. I guess I would call it a romance movie, but it doesn't even feel like a romance movie the whole time. The movie doesn't know what it wants to be. It's a mess. It's boring. It's not funny in the least as a comedy, and that's why Sex Tape ultimately failed. I give it a 6 out of 10. I do not recommend you guys see it, especially not in the theaters. Do not pay, if you want to see this movie so bad in theaters, do not pay anything more than $7.50 on Bargain Tuesday. Please do not pay more than that. Trust me, you'll regret if you pay more than that. This is a Redbox Netflix rental at best. It's not a great movie at all. That's all I have to say, guys. I can't wait to talk about The Purge Anarchy next. Stay tuned for that review coming soon. If you did watch Sex Tape, let me know what you thought about it down below in the comments. I really appreciate you guys watching my review. Thanks as always for all the support, guys. I will see you in the next video. Bye.